Before you fall asleep tonight, slow everything down. Let your thoughts settle. Let your breathing ease and allow yourself to simply be here in this moment. Because what you are about to hear is not random. It is a reminder meant for your heart when everything becomes quiet. God says you're not alone tonight. Not in your thoughts, not in your worries, not in the silence you carry when no one is around. There is someone listening right now who has been carrying too much for too long. You try to stay strong during the day, but at night, everything becomes heavier. The thoughts you ignored come back louder. The pressure returns. The questions begin again. Am I where I'm supposed to be? Why does life feel delayed? Why does everything feel uncertain? But listen carefully, you are not behind. You're being guided. In a quiet American city, a young man lies awake in bed. The room is dark except for the soft glow coming from the streetlight outside his window. His phone is beside him, face down, but his mind refuses to rest. He keeps replaying his life, decisions, pressure, expectations. Everything feels like it's moving too fast while he is standing still. And that feeling starts turning into anxiety. But what he doesn't realize is that today was already guided. Earlier that same day, he almost accepted something that looked perfect on the surface. A job opportunity that promised success, stability, and growth. But small delays kept happening. Emails came late. Calls were missed. Frustration built up. At the time, it felt like inconvenience. But now it was protection. Because what he could not see was the weight that opportunity carried behind the scenes. Stress, pressure, burnout waiting ahead. And those delays were not blocking him. They were saving him. God says, what you call delay, I call direction. What you call confusion, I call guidance. What you call silence, I call presence. And as he lies there in the dark, something begins to shift inside him. Not in his situation, but in his perception. A quiet thought appears in his mind. Maybe I was being protected without knowing it. And in that moment, his breathing slows just a little. His body begins to relax without him even trying. There's another person listening now. A woman who has been emotionally exhausted for a long time. Not because of one situation, but because of everything adding up silently over time. She has been strong for everyone. She has been responsible. She has kept moving forward even when she felt like stopping. But now, in the quiet of the night, she feels empty. Not broken, just tired. God says, I see you when no one is watching. I hear the prayers you never speak out loud. I know the weight you carry behind your smile. And I have not left your side. She sits alone in her kitchen, staring at nothing. The clock ticks softly in the background. The world outside is asleep, but her thoughts are wide awake. And she whispers, I don't know what I'm supposed to do anymore. And in that stillness, something deeper is happening. A realization she doesn't fully understand yet. A situation she once saw as loss, now beginning to look like protection. A door that closed before she could walk into something that would have drained her emotionally. Nothing about it felt good at the time. But now, it makes sense in a different way. God says, I do not remove things without reason. I do not close doors without purpose. I do not forget the paths I have placed you on. And now, slowly, something inside her begins to soften. Not because life has changed, but because her heart is no longer resisting a moment. Now breathe. Let your shoulders relax. Let your thoughts slow down. You're safe in this moment. You're being guided even now. And even if you do not understand everything happening in your life, you are not alone in it. Let your body rest now. Let peace begin to take over what pressure once held. God says, rest now. I am still working, and I am still with you. Now, as you continue resting, allow your mind to go deeper into stillness. Because what you're about to understand is something many people only realize in hindsight. Not everything that did not happen in your life was loss. Some of it was protection you could not see at the time. God says, you have been guided more times than you will ever fully know. And tonight, that truth begins to settle gently in your heart. There's a man listening right now who once thought he missed the biggest opportunity of his life. A job offer in another city looked perfect. Better salary, better future, better everything. But delays kept happening. Paperwork slowed down. Frustration built up. He felt blocked, forgotten, and stuck. But months later, he discovered that company went through sudden collapse. Layoffs, financial failure, stress everywhere. What felt like rejection was actually rescue. What felt like delay was protection in disguise. God says, you were not denied. You were diverted. You were not blocked. You were protected from what you could not see. And as he reflects on it now, something inside him changes. The frustration turns into quiet understanding. Not everything that looks like a closed door is meant to hurt you. Some doors close to save you. There's also a woman listening who once walked away from a relationship she thought was her future. It hurt deeply. She didn't understand it. She questioned herself. She thought she lost something meaningful. But time revealed the truth. Things she never saw at the time began to surface later. Patterns, truths, emotional weight she was never meant to carry long term. And slowly she realizes that ending was not destruction. It was protection. God says, I remove what breaks you slowly. I close what drains you quietly. I guide you away from what your heart cannot yet understand. And now, even in her sadness, peace begins to form where confusion once lived. Not because everything is perfect, but because everything now makes sense in a different light. There is another person listening who has been feeling delayed in life. Everyone around them seems ahead, progressing, achieving, moving forward, but they feel stuck in comparison. But hear this clearly, timing is not rejection. Delay is not abandonment, and silence is not absence. God says you are not late. You are being prepared. And as you rest deeper now, your thoughts begin to slow again. Your mind releases another layer of tension, because understanding begins to replace anxiety, and peace begins to replace pressure. You're still being guided, even now, even in what feels uncertain, even in what feels unfinished. Now breathe slowly. Let your body become heavier. Let your thoughts drift further away. Because nothing is required from you in this moment except rest. God says, I am still working even when you cannot see it. I am still shaping your path even in silence. Now you reach the deepest part of this message. The part where you stop carrying everything alone. The part where your identity begins to soften and heal. There is someone listening who no longer recognizes who they have become. Life has changed them. Pain has shaped them. Fear has influenced them. But none of that is your true identity. God says, you are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not what others said about you when they did not understand you. And as those words settle into your heart, something begins to release inside you. Not suddenly, but gently, like weight being lifted without effort. There's a version of you still becoming, still growing, still being rebuilt quietly in ways you cannot yet see. And even now, healing is not something you are forcing. It is something happening naturally as you rest. Because restoration does not always feel dramatic. Sometimes it feels like peace returning after a long season of noise. Sometimes it feels like breathing without pressure. Sometimes it feels like finally being able to let go. Now breathe again. Let your mind drift further. Let your body become still. You are safe in this moment. You are not alone in this silence. And you're being held even now. God says, I'm not finished with you. But for tonight, you can rest. You can stop fighting. You can stop carrying what was never meant to be carried alone. And slowly, everything begins to quiet down. Thoughts fade. Pressure loosens. The mind becomes soft. The body becomes heavy. And sleep begins to take over naturally. You are safe. You are guided. You are not forgotten. And even while you sleep, you are still being cared for. Now rest. And let peace carry you fully into the night. Now, as you continue resting, go even deeper into stillness. Because this is the part where your mind stops fighting and your heart begins to fully release everything it has been holding. God says you are allowed to rest now. Not because everything is finished, but because you're not meant to carry everything at once. There is someone listening who has been overthinking their entire life direction. Every decision feels heavy. Every step feels uncertain. Every future thought feels overwhelming. But hear this clearly. Not every answer will come through thinking. Some answers come through peace. And peace only arrives when you stop trying to control what was never yours to control. There's a man listening right now who feels like he is running out of time. He watches others progress, and he feels like he is standing still. But what he doesn't realize is that unseen preparation is happening in silence. Doors are being arranged. Paths are being aligned. Opportunities are forming in places he cannot yet see. God says, you're not late. You're being prepared in hidden ways. There is a woman listening who has been carrying emotional wounds from the past. Things people said, things people did, moments that still echo in her memory when everything becomes quiet at night. But tonight, something begins to loosen, not because the past disappears, but because its weight no longer defines her future. God says, I'm healing what others could not see. I am restoring what was broken quietly. I am rebuilding what was lost slowly. And as those words settle inside her, something soft begins to replace the heaviness she has carried for so long. Now breathe again. Let your shoulders drop. Let your thoughts slow further. Because you do not need to solve anything right now. You do not need to fix anything in this moment. You only need to rest. There are moments in your life that will only make sense later. Things you once called delay will reveal themselves as direction. Things you once called loss will reveal themselves as protection. And when that understanding comes, you will see that nothing was wasted. God says, I was there in every moment you doubted yourself. I was there in every silence you questioned. I was there when you thought nothing was happening. But I was working where you could not see. And now, slowly, everything becomes even quieter. Your breathing becomes softer. Your thoughts become distant. Your body begins to feel heavy in a peaceful way. This is where rest takes over completely. You are safe. You are guided. You are not forgotten. And even now, you are still being held. So let go now. Let everything drift away. Let sleep carry you gently. Because tomorrow is already being prepared, even while you rest tonight. There is someone listening tonight who has stopped believing that anything good can still happen. Not because they have lost faith completely, but because disappointment has visited them so many times that hope now feels unfamiliar. Every unanswered prayer became another reason to expect less. Every setback whispered that nothing would ever change. Yet even now, in the quiet of this night, hope has not left you. It has simply been waiting for you to become still enough to hear it again. God says, hope is not something you create on your own. Hope is something I place inside you. Even when everything around you seems uncertain, I keep a light burning where fear cannot reach. The world may convince you to expect the worst, but I am preparing your heart to believe again. Do not confuse waiting with losing. Waiting is often where faith grows the strongest. Imagine a father sitting alone after everyone in his house has fallen asleep. He quietly reviews bills spread across the kitchen table. He counts the numbers again and again, hoping they will somehow change. The weight of providing for his family feels heavier than ever. He wonders if he has failed them. He wonders whether tomorrow will bring another burden he cannot carry. He lowers his head and closes his eyes. No long prayer, no dramatic words. Just one honest sentence. God, I don't know what to do anymore. That simple prayer fills the silence more powerfully than he realizes. Because heaven has never measured the beauty of a prayer by its length. It measures it by the sincerity of the heart speaking it. God says, I heard those words before they ever left your lips. I knew your fears before you admitted them. I saw your tears that no one else noticed. I have not ignored you. I have been walking beside you through every difficult day, even when you believed you were walking alone. The next morning arrives like every other morning. Nothing looks extraordinary. The sun rises. Coffee brews.